everybody. Welcome to the Aardvark interviews. I got my great co-host, Desiree. It just rolls off my tongue.
Too kind.
It rolls off my tongue in a very creepy kind of way. Desiree. Desiree Caprice. She's brought today someone from the UK, actually. A rapper from the UK who goes by the name Le Magnifiq. Well, what do you want us to call you? You want us to call you?
Yeah, well, you can call me Le Magnifiq or Selwyn. I mean, Desiree knows me, from a long time, so you can call me Selwyn, but we're all friends here, so yeah.
All right, let me ask you a question. I see your video's not working. Are you Banksy?
Sorry?
Banksy?
Are you Banksy?
The graffiti artist?
No, I'm not. I'm not Banksy,
okay.
No.
All right, so this is not Banksy, everyone. This is not Banksy. This is Selwyn A. Smith, a.k.a. Le Magnifiq.
Yep, that's me.
Are you in London, my man?
I am indeed. My hometown, London, born and bred.
Sweet.
Okay, first, I want to thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you for doing this. Now, you rap about a lot of political stuff. Of all the subjects you could be rapping about, like annoying stuff like drugs and gangs, like a majority of other rappers, what made you want to rap about political stuff?
I'll tell you the truth, right? When I started out rapping nearly 30 years ago, I broke up with my girlfriend and so on, and at the time I was 18, and I was, and then I sort of like started looking for, a new venture. And so I started to really get into my old school hip hop. I mean, I was into it beforehand in the late 80s and so on. So it was the early 90s. I decided to go a bit further with it. And, and I started experimenting with it, with listening to the likes of the names listed, like, the influences of Gangstarr, Naughty by Nature, MC Lyte, Rah Digga, and of course Eric B and Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, those guys.
Big Daddy Kane. Yeah.
So that's where it all, started. I didn't actually start recording my stuff until sort of like the mid-90s, when I started working on my debut album. It took a bit of time to do it because obviously I was still feeling my way around, see. And during that time, I was trying to put my music out there. Nobody was interested. So I decided to sort of like go down a different route, as it were. So I created M1 Music 20 years ago. And because I was sending my stuff over and I was getting rejected all the time. So I decided to create my own label, and that's it. And it's 20 years old this year. It turned 20 years old in April. So
congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I got a question for you. In one of your songs, Queen and Country, there's a lot of social biting remarks, very, very deep to the bone, mate. Did you get any flack for that? Did you get any people saying, "Oh, shut up, man"?
I'll tell you something. It's not just that song.
All right.
It's the entire album, which is off Graffiti Junction.
I figured
it was a very, very controversial album when I released it in October of 2004. It was very controversial. People were slaughtering me for it, particularly on that one. And of course, The Good, the Bad, and the Idiot, and of course, Poison Voices and so on. It was, I wrote the song sort of like as really between 2003 up to the middle of 2004.
I mean, my man, you said some really rough things in there. One thing basically you said was you wish that England, the UK, whatever have you, mate, that they would invest less money in terrorist activities or battling terrorism or whatever, and more money in social programs, something like that you said. So I could see how this could get really lit, like really, you know.
Gas, yeah, somebody could say it now as like gaslighting. But with that, you know, because I just feel that, you know, I started asking the question probably just after 9/11. I started thinking, well, what is it all for? What is this war on terror all about? So you've heard the album Graffiti Junction, so you've heard me mention it a few times on the album, and I started asking questions, and I guess by sort of like going around doing my own research, because that's what I do whenever I write songs. I do my own research, see, and it goes into a lot of, you know, deep things. So that's probably why sort of like a lot of people couldn't quite understand where I was coming from, but it's took almost 18 years now for people to realize, oh yeah, he's got a point. Oh yeah.
Did you see the title of one of his tracks, Dez? The title of the track is called Commander and Thief. I love it. I friggin' love it. I give 2 thumbs up to the title itself. So.
Oh, thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
And the lyrics. I like that you rap about stuff that matters and like got substance in your music and everything, and it's not just silly stuff. I love that.
Okay,
yeah,
so
thank you very much.
I don't want
to tell you how I came up with the idea of that.
Please.
Oh, you can hear me yet? Yeah, I came up with the idea of that basically in 2008, and it was about when you know, the financial crisis hit. That was when I wrote it during the financial crisis in 2008, where everybody was struggling. And, you know, here in the UK, a lot of people were paying money to the banks because all the taxes, what we paid for in the UK, all went to the banks.
Okay.
And so the people own it. And of course, the government is sort of like saying, oh, no, you don't. And they've just took our money, basically. Hence the name Commander and Thief.
I love it.
Okay, now Magnifiq, you said that like you started rapping and then you went into the studio. Like, let's say there's somebody who wants to get into rapping. What advice would you give them? Like, let's say someone's sitting at home and they're like, I got some rhymes, but I don't know how to get it from rapping in the mirror in my bedroom to actually putting it on, I was gonna say wax. What advice would you give someone who's like, okay, I want to go from rapping in the mirror in my bedroom or in the bathroom to actually getting some records printed up?
Obviously, you got social media now, so you're going to get a lot of people who are going to go out and put videos out there now. Compared to when I started 30 years ago, there was none of that. If you're gonna, it depends on the context you're gonna write about. If you want to write about sort of like real issues, you have to sit down and do your research. You can't just write anything willy-nilly, and then people will be looking at you strange and starting, you know, who is he? What is he on about? You know, so you want to be able to do your research on that before writing. That's what I did. You know, when I was creating, you know, I did some political stuff on my very, very early albums. Like if you guys have ever listened to the M1 Story, that is my second album, but it's the first release off of M1 Music. That album was originally due to be released at the end of 2001, but I had problems with the software and so on, so it was 2 years late. So I have a couple of political songs on there, like On Certain World and One Day. So with On Certain World, that's more or less what written just after 9/11, that song. So it was about my own take of my own view from here in the UK. And then basically I thought to myself when I went to an anti-war march and I started getting speaking with people. That's another one. You go and speak with the public, you take a notepad and a pen and write some words down. Any words that come into your head, you just write them down There you go. And that's how, and then the next thing you know, you're writing a song. I wrote a little bit of The Good, the Bad, and the Idiot on the tube train on the way home from a demo.
Wow.
In late 2003.
All right, let me ask you a question. Who is the idiot?
Our former Prime Minister here, Tony Blair.
I know you mentioned him on that album. I know you mentioned him.
Yeah. So, and of course, George W. Bush being the bad.
Excellent.
Yeah. And the idea came because I'd written the lyrics, but I didn't have a title for it at the time. It wasn't until when I was watching the film The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, that's when the idea came to me.
Classic.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's a great story.
Yeah. So, and that's how I came. And the thing is, with that, particularly the second verse, that scares me a little bit because I had warned about Iran, Iraq, and Syria facing a crucial sentence, meaning that they're going to be destabilized any moment now. And of course, and look what's happened with Syria, it's destabilized. And I said that on The Good, the Bad, and the Idiot as far back as 2004. I'm not like a prophet or anything.
Oh, sure you are. Sure you are.
It's just like when you get how to put it, when you get a feeling, and then you write it down, and that's how you come up with it.
All right. Let me ask. Life at a fast pace, right?
Yeah.
It says, are you looking for a change? I'm asking you right now, Le Magnifique, what should change?
I think with this with the pandemic we're having now, it's sort of like realizing more or less reality. There's a check with reality. The song Life at a Fast Pace is about, with we're living very quick in quick times. We're always moving fast without caring. You sort of like, the idea came for me again when I was on the tube train heading home. People were bumping into me and say, "Oh, where you going, mate?" and bumping into me and everything like that. And I thought, that's the name of a title. So I wrote the name of the title on there, and I started writing the tracks, the lyrics, and so on. And with Life at a Fast Pace is basically when I use the line where we're saying we're all sleeping, trapped in a program, using life as one big anagram. So that's what we're all doing at the moment, because we're trapped and just focusing on nothing else. We just focus on the little space that is in our little box. I mean, by that we're trapped in our own little program and using life as an anagram. So that by what I mean by anagram, we're sort of like still trying to find out what is the best way to try and break out of your comfort zone. Hence why I'm used those lyrics.
Okay. Dez, you got another question?
Okay, how do you come up with the music? Because the music is great too. Like, do you play instruments, or do you have musicians? Do you have like a beat in your head and you're like, hey, I want it to sound like this?
What I did in the early days of M1 Music, I used a very, very old program back in the early 2000s, and I sat on my computer and I just construct some of the songs, some of the samples, and put them in the areas where I wanted to put them. And when I've constructed the music, I put the lyrics around to fit around the music. Like, I would get singers to come in and, sing certain parts in certain areas of the song. And then I would get myself to do the bits. So I would write for the singers as well. So I've written for a few singers here in the UK. So one of them is Sylvie Marie, who's been working alongside me since 2003. So I've written for her a lot, and we've performed a lot together. So we know each other's work. So that's how I've sort of like worked over the years. But now I don't put the music together so much now. I normally leave it to my my engineer. I just tell him what sort of sound, or on the odd occasion, if I go into the studio, I would play bits on his piano because I could play a little bit of the piano. At school, I used to be able to play the drums, but I don't play the drums so much now. But I concentrated on playing the piano. I know the notes on the piano and so on, so I can identify the notes and play them. And that's how I come up with some of the songs which you like, Dez.
Do your family and friends support you?
All right, let's go to a little section of the show called the Shameless Plug. My man, M1, Le Magnifiq, would you like to plug something that you got coming up or going on right now?
Yeah, sure. As you know, that my label celebrates 20 years this year. On the 1st of April, it turned 20 years old. Founded it not far from where I live. I've got a few shows that I'm like, sort of like put on here in London and in some parts of the country. So I have a show coming up. Well, actually, I have 2 shows coming up. I've got one the end of this month, and another one a week after. So I've got myself and 2 other singers who features with me. Lisa Jane is one, and Sylvie Marie is the other. Lisa Jane is in the process of having her debut album out, so that I'm hoping that will be out later this year. It's called Reflections. So she's given me the list of songs yesterday, and she's included a song which I wrote for her. She asked me to write a song for her, and it was a song I'd written back in 2003. And I said to her, look, if you want it, you can have it, if you're happy with it. And the song's called Sweetest Feeling. You can actually listen to it on the M1 Music SoundCloud page. It's on there. So I'm not sure if that's going to be her first single. It's up to Lisa Jane, but she's going to be the next artist who's going to have an album released from M1 Music.
Let me ask.
I won't be having anything new until probably early 2023.
All right, let me ask you though, where can your fans go to see these shows?
Well, a lot of my fans are based overseas. But if you go on to the M1 Music fans page or on Facebook, as well as the posters, they're all advertised online. They're all dotted around. There's the gig, what we have coming up the end of this month, is in a small industrial town called Scunthorpe in northern England. Yes, it's in northern England. Yeah.
Wow.
That town has a connection with me because it was in 2003, 18 and a half years ago, I did my very first gig in that town.
Wow.
So that will be sort of like a 20th anniversary one. And then I have another show a week later in Manchester.
Wow.
So so basically I've got 2 shows, but I'm in the process of trying to sort out another one, but I've been sort of like doing a lot of writing and obviously been promoting the live album, which Sister Dez there has the album. She bought it the other week.
Oh.
Yeah, the live album. Yeah, that's sort of like a celebration of the work we've done over the last 20 years.
All right. Thank you so much, my man. Do you know that Le Magnifiq wrote a song called Queen and Country, talking about queens?
Oh, no, I didn't. Tell me about it.
Basically, it's an anti-war song.
Where was he? Where was
yes.
it? Where did you go, Le Magnifiq? Were you on the crapper?
No, well, you see, there was a lot of demonstrations at the time. So, so basically, I came up with the title Queen and Country, because it was at the time they were here in the UK. They were debating on whether Britain should join the invasion of Iraq. That's what the song was all about. and I came up with the line said, "Or with the recent wars we've all had to pay." I'm more saying about myself, saying that I'm more accurate than some dodgy dossier.
Nice,
So,
nice.
so basically, I'm saying that my facts are more accurate because I've done my research, and the dodgy dossier is what they all made up to justify the invasion of going into Iraq, which
That's
we
a
all
heavy
know
song.
was a complete disaster.
It was a complete disaster, and a lot of
Hence, that's why I came up with that line. I'm more accurate than some dodgy dossier.
Damn right, bro. But what do you think, Magnifiq? Would you sell your soul to the machine?
No,
He always says on
I will
Facebook,
not
he's
do.
not
I will
giving
not
into
do
the
that.
dark side.
Huh?
Yeah, I stay away from what I call the dark side
All right.
because, for me, if I did do that, I would, I will be forced to water my stuff down, and I would not water
True.
any of my lyrics down.
True.
You know what I mean? Because they're your own creation.
Right, because you could not call Tony Blair, the good, the bad, and the what was the last one?
An idiot.
Yeah, you
Yeah, the
couldn't
good,
really
the bad,
call.
and the idiot.
You,
I wouldn't have been able to come up with some controversial titles, what I've written.
yeah.
There's one on my last album, basically called Dipstick.
Dipstick?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Let me ask you, is it a hard driving song?
Yes. Yes, Dez has the album. She'll be able to tell you it. It basically says we have a dipstick running this government, meaning
dipstick. I think you said
yeah.
dipstick. All right.
No, dipstick.
You said, oh shit.
Yeah, it's called Dipstick. Dipstick.
So who's the head honcho there in the UK now?
Boris Johnson.
He's another. Is he okay, or is he another dipstick?
He is a dipstick, 100%.
Is it true that he got COVID?
Yes.
That's good.
Yes, he did. He got COVID.
All right.
Yeah, he suffered with it, and probably half the government caught it, but they didn't get it as bad as what Boris did.
Yeah. So you don't like Boris at all?
No.
Why not?
The things he said about black and Asian people in this country is.
What did he say? I want to hear this shit.
Yeah, what did he say?
Right. He said that black people have watermelon smiles and have low IQs.
No, he did not.
He said that.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
Wow.
And he says that Asian people, and particularly ladies who dress up in the Muslim dress with the hijab and the niqab, they look like letterboxes. Those were his words.
Letterboxes?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
did he say all this before or after he got elected? After he got
this was before. And many people have been asking for him to apologize, and so far he's refused.
Holy shit.
The man is a nutcase, in my opinion. I didn't vote for him, but a lot of idiotic people in this country voted for him.
Is he
mainly because of Brexit?
Is he with Labour? Is he with the Labour Party?
He's conservative, which is a right-wing group here. It's similar to the Republicans over there.
Okay.
Yeah. It is right-wing. But
that's some nasty ass shit right there. Wow.
Yeah. So, this is what we're going through at the moment, right now in Britain, there's a shortage of lorry drivers, and there's a shortage of carers in the nursing profession. We seriously got some problems here in the UK. It's you can't sugarcoat it. You know me, I don't sugarcoat anything like this. I'll tell the truth of how it is. It is, in some places, some of the shops have got shortages of food as well. Jesus. And it's not only because of COVID, it's because of Brexit as well. Because since we've left the EU now, there's a lot of red tape we've got to go through. And it's causing a lot of hardship to a lot of people in this country. And, you know, and Boris Johnson is what I call a ditherer. He sits there and starts wondering what to do next.
Yeah.
You know, he's scratching his head, hence why his hair is all messy.
All right.
I mean?
These are very important things. We're going to close the show soon. But the most important thing I got to ask you tonight, Selwyn, the Magnifiq, is who's your favorite football club? Huh.
My favorite football club, I've supported them since I was a boy, so it was 1985, Chelsea Football Club.
Chelsea. Good for you.
So I've supported them for 36 years. So I've supported them way before the money came in.
Wow.
So, but, you know, obviously I don't follow them as much now because, you know, obviously because I still have a few questions about the owner. Let's put it this way, you know.
Of course.
But
all right.
That's it. My family supported me. There were a few who said I should try to be more rapping as an American in my early days. And I tried and it didn't work for me. So I decided I wanted to be me. You know, although I had the support, I wanted to be me. Because I knew after I'd visited the USA a few times in the past, I knew that my accent would make a lot of your fellow countrymen stop and listen, thinking, oh, where's he from? You know what I mean? Sort of like when you say, oh, he's from the UK, you know, you guys love our accent. You know, that's why a lot of our British actors are doing so well over there, including Idris Elba. So that's probably why I decided to go, you know, in my early days to choose my own route and be myself. You know, you be yourself, you go a long way and you get respected for doing that. And I guess in the end, my family have respected what I've done. Although some do feel I should tone down my political rhymes just a tad.
I was going to ask about that.
You know, but I stand me ground and I stood firm and carried on regardless. And now they're sort of like saying to me, "Oh yeah, you said that. Oh, perhaps we were wrong." And I got the support, and that has given me more of a confidence to write more stuff, if you know what I mean. So my family have always been there, including, you know, my wife's family. So they've always been there.
That's great.
So
and stay true to you and your lyrics and everything, because that's what separates you from like everybody else out here.
Well, I mean, I learned a lot from a lot of rappers from over your side of the pond. You know, if it wasn't for them leaving a door open for me over here, I wouldn't be where I am now. So I give credit to the rappers on your side of the pond, and particularly the ones from New York City, helping me, you know, just like the likes of Gangstarr and the late Keith Alarm, God rest his soul. You know, even though he's from Boston originally, he was like the main man who left the door open for me.
Wow.
So, and I learned a lot from him. So I'm in debt to all of the rappers over in the US, particularly those ones from the 90s.
Would you like to put out a movie or do a movie or something like that, Le Magnifique?
Oh, wow. That's a good question, actually. I did some acting in school in the 80s. I never really actually thought I would be able to do something. I've always thought about writing a song for a movie, you know, doing something like that. You know, I dreamt of doing that. Acting, I could probably have a go, but, you know, it's been years since I did all of that at school. That was over 30 years ago. But mainly I'd be like to, you know, perhaps write a song for a movie or
Nice.
dream one day of writing half a soundtrack, you know, like what Queen did with Flash and of course some rappers with some of the song, you know, with their own songs with the films and what have you. I'd like to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's my dream anyway.
Nice. You heard Le Magnifique's dream. Catch M1. My man's got a fan page. Le Magnifique got a fan page. Join the M1 runaway train. Also become a smoking room member. Aardvark. Interviews. It's every Monday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Different week every week.
Such a good friggin' co-host. Just
Incredible.
Unbelievable. All my love. So, and we got listed live on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, we got shows at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Part of the topical entertainment news. It's not tropical, it's topical.